We got Gilly on the phone, so I don't want to delay. I want to have as much time as possible with him, and then we'll have Coach Kingston, then we'll have Coach Edwards, and then we'll have Coach Backich. So we got them all lined up like planes coming in for a landing at Hartsfield in Atlanta. So we take the first big 787 of the night, and he is Gary Gilmore from Coastal Carolina. And thank you for joining us, and congratulations. How you feeling?
Oh, very, very blessed and very fortunate. No doubt. It just we the way we played in the league or whatever was disappointing at times. I mean, we played a incredibly hard schedule, and committee's eyes.
You broke up there on us for just a moment there. You were talking about your tough schedule. Go back on that again, please.
Yeah, I was just saying that we were very fortunate that our tough schedule played to our advantage in the eyes of the committee. With our out of conference schedule was the third toughest in the country, and our out of conference RPI was sixth. So that kind of counteracted a very mediocre conference outing.
What were you thinking as the show was playing out before they got to your name? Were you confident, or did you have doubt?
I had huge doubt. There's a lot of, as you know, Bill, having been in this game for so long and everything, it's there's a lot of politics played with the last few that get in or don't get in, and I say politics on just each person that's on the committee, they have a different threshold for what is important and what is good. So you're very fortunate if you're a bubble team like we were, and that you actually get in, because after during Saturday's games, I'm sitting there, I quit watching it about 12 o'clock on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even check anymore. I didn't check a score. I didn't listen to nobody, whatever, because it was like, man, the dominoes have got to fall almost exactly perfectly, or it isn't going to matter. We're going to have no shot.
Mm.
And in all honesty, almost every domino that had to fall for Coastal to stay on the board, almost every one of them happened. And we're very, very fortunate to get in, and hopefully we can. I'm hoping we can. Regardless of what happens, I just hope we can play like I know we can play. We have. There was a time during the year when heck, we played exceptionally well, pitched, hit, did everything. We've gone through our struggles and our inconsistencies. For about 2 months. We've been good, we've been bad, and we've been everywhere in between.
This is true. And you're going to get a chance with a reprieve here, I would say, to show what you can do. Before we look ahead, though, how do you feel for Chad Holbrook with what happened with the College of Charleston? I mean, do coaches, especially in-state, do you kind of look at one another and have feelings for one another in a situation like this? Because he was upset, and I'm sure that people looked at the fact that Matt Hogue's the chairman of the committee, and you got in, and he got left out with his good-looking record and his very strong second half of the regular season. I mean, they were 23-5 over the last 28 games. How do you feel for him or towards them?
Oh, I mean, Chad is a good friend, and obviously, number one, I don't have anything to do with any of that stuff. I was hoping Coastal Carolina got in. I be honest with you, I didn't see how they couldn't get in, but I honestly don't think that necessarily that Coastal ate up their spot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can go through that thing, and there's some Power Fives that got in that they were 15 points below us in the RPI,
mm-hmm.
if not more. So I mean, I don't. It's easy to point the fingers at us, but and I get that and understand that. But I completely understand his frustration with the whole thing, and having been in the Big South for a good portion of my career, it just people don't respect you the way they ought to respect you in a lot of ways. And not that the Colonial is a bad conference by any means, but it just you're looked at in a different manner. To be very honest with you, when I think their league was either 9th or 10th or something like that, and heck, we played Wilmington, and Wilmington had a good club, and they really played well at the end too. So, I mean, I totally sympathize with him. Again, it's easy to throw Matt Hogue under the bus, but I mean, if I understand how all that works, at least the actual voting, he isn't even in the room when they do the voting when we're concerned. So, I don't know that that he was able to be the deciding factor. I have no idea. He might have been, might have not been. I honestly don't know. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's it doesn't help him in this whole situation. I mean, after all the names were called, I'm like, who the hell got left out that I know I felt for sure was in? And it was like one of our coaches said, Coach Charleston didn't get in. I'll be honest, I couldn't believe it, to be honest with you.
Gary Gilmore, head baseball coach at Coastal Carolina University, with us here tonight on Sports Talk. Chanticleer is back in the NCAA tournament. They'll be participant in the Clemson Regional and get Vanderbilt in the opening round on Friday. Coach, we'll get to Vandy in a moment, but dovetailing off your comments about teams that should have gotten in, and I agree with you, I think the college deserved to get in. Florida is one of those Power 5 teams that I think got a pass and got in, but the subject of the discussion about possibly expanding the tournament was the last thing the ESPN guys were chatting about on the selection show. Now that you're getting out of baseball and maybe could look back at the field, do you see a point if, let's say, they expanded by 10 teams, would that help the mid-majors, or would that just be more Power 5 teams that would get in if they expanded the tournament?
I mean, being honest with you, I don't know how to feel about it. If I'm a bubble team, if I want it. If I'm not, I don't want it. I honestly, I don't know how you do it and actually, don't lengthen the tournament or force more games. I mean, back when I first got in, we only had 48 teams and we had 6-team regionals, which were a nightmare. Trying to figure out how to play the numbers of games you had to play and weather this time of year with the storms and everything. It just, I honestly don't know where they go, to be very honest with you. My wife looked at me the other day and she's listened to me talk about the portal and NIL and all this mess. She came over and gave me a big hug. She goes, I know you're gonna miss it, but I don't know a whole lot about it, but I think you're getting out at the right time. Oh man, it is so much. There are so many things that need to be fixed in a lot of ways, and I'm not quite sure exactly how they do them. I mean, there's a lot of deserving teams out there. I mean, baseball is such a crazy game too that you can back when we were fortunate enough to win, you can have a team that just starts playing really good, and all of a sudden there are teams that are more talented, one through whatever, but you outplay them because you only put 9 on the field. And the portal's changing that and NIL and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's you look around and I mean, holy cow, man! Some of these teams are, they're like AA caliber ball clubs, and you used to not see, you'd see some talent, but I mean, you wouldn't see the physicality and the 22 to 24-year-olds. I mean, the game, guys, has changed from light years in the last 5 years.
Sure.
I mean, I think there's been more change in the last 5 years than in the last 50 years, and what's going on, and between COVID and the portal and NIL has completely changed the landscape of all the sports, but definitely it's changed baseball.
Coach, last couple of minutes with you. Let's look ahead to Friday. It's hard to believe with your long career and resume that you guys have in the Coastal Baseball program, you've never faced Vanderbilt. So I'm fascinated your thoughts about that program, what you're getting into on Friday, and your relationship with Tim Corbett.
Oh man, Corb's not been buddies for a long, long time, and heck, man, I have incredible respect for him and for all these coaches that are in our regional, and it just, I mean, Corbs and I go back to, when we were back in our early days when we were young fellas, and he was at PC and I was at Aiken, and we'd get after each other, and then he went to Clemson, and heck, on to Vandy, and changed a lot of the face of college baseball by the things he did and innovated. How you did a lot of things at Vandy that changed the landscape of college baseball. I have incredible respect for him, and I just can't say enough great things about his team and what he's done in the past, this team as well. And I look forward to competing against him. And we used to get after each other when it was PC and Aiken. So I don't expect it to be any different. We're just in two different places right now.
Well, this Vandy team, they got hot second half of the season and finished 38-21, got to the semis of the SEC tournament, and of course they're known for their hard-throwing arms. I imagine you're going to see one of those hard-throwing arms when you face those guys on Friday.
Yeah, I'm hoping we see like 5 or 6 of them. That means we're doing pretty good. But yeah, absolutely no. I mean, it's this time of year, guys. It doesn't matter which one of these places you get sent. I mean, you're gonna, everybody's got a dude. They just happen to have a bunch of them. And no different than pretty much every SEC team. They're they have the ability to attract them and develop them, and they've done great things. So I don't expect I don't expect any soft tossing guys out there on any of these teams that we face.
Well, we'll hear more from you later in the week at the press conference there. I'm glad we got at least another week to kick you around.
Absolutely.
So good luck. Thank you for being with us as always, and we'll talk to you later this week. Appreciate you, sir.
Thanks, Coach. See you up there.
Yeah, you guys are welcome. By the way, I got like 25 texts from my former players told me to get my rear end off the beach and get out of retirement and get back to work. So that was kind of fun. So
I bet.
Hopefully another week will make it good, and we can like I said, I just hope we play good and play as well as we can, and whatever happens. But I do appreciate you guys, and hopefully I'll talk to you later in the week.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Coach
Thanks,
Gary
Coach.
Gilmore. Batting leadoff for us tonight here on Sports Talk. Yeah, you look at the pitching for Vandy. Bryce Cunningham, 94 strikeouts in 79 innings. Carter Holton, 96 strikeouts in 68 innings. Those are the top two dogs for I imagine they'll see one of those two in that game because, Vandy can't afford to fool around, and neither can Coastal.